Hello, welcome to the Bruck Lighting low voltage cable shortening instruction video. Today we're going to show you how to take a uni-plug assembly from our standard pendants and shorten the cable, reassemble the unit properly so that it fits perfectly in our systems. To start out with, we have a low voltage uni-plug assembly, and as you see, we've disassembled it to show you all the different parts and pieces involved. Many parts and pieces are included in this, so it's very important that you have a clean space that's well organized so that you can easily identify the components, lay them out appropriately, and then reassemble them properly. So a couple of tools that we need for this application. We've got a little measuring instrument here. We have a small wrench that's supplied by Bruck Lighting. This is included in every uni-plug cable assembly. You'll need a small crescent wrench, a pair of high quality wire cutters, a small flathead jeweler's screwdriver, and a 1.3 millimeter Allen head wrench. In this case I have a driver, but any sort of Allen head wrench that's 1.3 millimeters will work perfectly. This is also, for English measurements, 0.05 inches. The process starts by disassembling the uni-plug assembly. We're going to first start by loosening the set screw that holds the cable assembly attached to the uni-plug. Now this physically connects the conical cable to the cable assembly here. So that is the primary point of fastening this cable system to the uni-plug. Now we're going to take our wrench supplied by Bruck, attach it to the unit here. You can see the two flat spots on this tapered portion. That's where the wrench fits into place. We also use a crescent wrench. You can see there's two more flat spots on the uni-plug assembly here. Counter rotate those two wrenches to begin loosening this process. And as you'll see, this will begin to loosen up. Now you can just use your fingers to remove different portions of this. Because there's so many threads involved, certain portions may come apart before others. Don't worry about that. What's most important is that you're able to keep them organized for reassembly. So in this case, we've removed the barrel and the insulating interior sleeve. We've also removed the security barrel. And now we have left is some of the other components that are in the center of this unit. Again, we're going to use the Bruck wrench. That keeps the surfaces from being marred. It's important not to use pliers on this portion of the uni-plug jack to maintain the finish of the unit. Again, counter rotate. You'll see the cable will start to spin with this portion here. So you can actually spin the tapered conical on this portion. That's removed. You can slide that down the cable and leave that attached to the cable. There's also this compression ring here. That helps to create a solid electrical connection for the coaxial cable. That can also be slid down the cable and out of your way while you work on the center section. This portion here, there's a very small Allen head wrench or Allen head screw right in the center of this. And you want to put your Allen head in there and remove that screw entirely. It's important that you keep that screw attached to your Allen head wrench so that you can find it later. It's very small. It's a little challenging to locate. Now this portion here, we can remove just by pulling that out. The rest of this assembly will slide off as well. So as you see here, we have things laid out pretty similar to what we have as far as the complete exploded view with all the different components. Now we get to the business of shortening the cable. You've measured your system from the bottom of the uni-plug jack to the top of the conical on the low voltage pendant. Now you can use that same measurement to measure to the end of the cable and cut the cable length. So we measure from the end of the conical up to this portion here, cut at the proper length, discard the extra cable. Now here's where our measuring tool comes into play. We're going to strip 3/4 of an inch of the outer jacket off of this. So measure that off, select the proper index on the strippers, gently cut that jacket, and then slide it off. It's important not to cut into the cable on the outside of this, so that way it maintains a proper electrical connection. You can then compress this cable and then gather all the material together at the bottom of this unit right here. This will all compress inside of the uni-plug jack and give you a nice connection. Our next step is to cut 1/4 of an inch off of the end of the cable here, or not cut it, but strip 1/4 of an inch off the inner cable. So at this point, again, gently cut that insulation. Try to keep the cable intact as much as possible. Once that's removed, just do a couple of turns around the cable to keep the wires nice and clean and tight together. This is important because we don't want those frayed wires to be pulled aside as we reassemble this unit. So our next step is to take this threaded barrel in the center, insert that brass connection piece. Hear the snap as it pops into place. That's the proper seating of this unit. You want to be able to see the hole where the Allen head screw fits back into it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to insert the inner cable into the end of this barrel. You want to slide it all the way in until you see the cable inside that little hole where we're going to reset the Allen head screw. As we reinsert that screw, we're going to keep this all tight so that we get a great electrical connection in there. Tighten down that screw, make a nice connection, and then seat this entire assembly as you see here. Then we take our compression fitting, push that up towards this threaded barrel assembly, take the tapered conical, begin threading that back onto the threaded barrel. And here's where we want to make a nice compression. So we're going to take our crescent wrench, again fit it onto the threaded barrel, take our Bruck wrench, fit it on the tapered portion of this, then counter rotate these again, this time tightening them so you have a nice solid connection. These are very small parts, they're fairly delicate, so you don't want to over tighten this assembly. Now we're going to make sure that this inner brass unit is seated properly into the assembly here, and then tighten our set screw on the cable. Once that's completed, we refit the barrel assembly on the exterior and then the outer tip for the uni-plug assembly. This threads on to the remaining assembly and holds that security barrel in place. Again, we use the Bruck wrench on the tapered portion of the conical and the crescent wrench on the barrel for the uni-plug assembly. Retighten, and now you have a complete assembly shortened to the length that you desired.